probably just taking a bunch of pictures. Oh, it starts it.
Hey, awesome.
all right.
That'll be that.
I was wondering what that button did. All I know is there's a number 3 car in Victory Lane in Daytona again. And God is good. Praise Him.
Praise Him.
Talk amongst yourselves.
And all His mercies.
I'm Jared, by the way.
I'm Josh.
I know we're backwards, but, that's what we're dealing with this week. This is
Such is life on the porch.
We're back. Out back. What you been up to since we talked last?
Not a whole lot. I got caught up. Not caught up. We were discussing Black Panther and how neither one of us has seen it. So
Not yet.
This is not going to be much of a review. But I've been watching other Marvel-y stuff lately, and I really haven't been up to a whole lot of nothing. Watching a whole lot of basketball, man, because it's leading up to the All-Star break. The All-Star break is, selfishly, I'm bummed because nobody's playing, but it's all good. I'm glad to get a week off because that's a pretty grueling season. I'll tell you what, though, we'll discuss that real quick because that was something. I was listening to a show and they were discussing how the schedule, they gotta, don't they have to lessen the schedule in the NBA? And I think they do. I'm totally okay with them. They keep saying 75, and I'm like, well, it's already 82. That's not that big of a drop. So I got no problem with basketball going to a shorter season because what occurred to me was they were talking about injuries and the way guys play now and how athletic the game is. And it literally was something that you and I have talked about before, man. It's like you are asking guys to perform Ring of Honor level matches on a WWE schedule. And that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. And I'm like, so the idea of like what WWE does totally makes sense for their schedule. What Ring of Honor does makes sense for their schedule. This guy doing this guy's schedule makes no work. This guy having, preserving yourself on a lesser schedule doesn't make any sense. So just pick one and that's okay. So the idea of the quality of the game staying up, playing fewer of them, I don't think anyone's got a problem with that. But it just occurred to me like, man, that's interesting. We were just talking about that. And that's kind of groovy. United season started. Not really. The season starts on the 3rd, but they're in they went up to Nashville and played an exhibition, and then the Carolina Challenge Cup got started. And that's kind of awesome. We played against Columbus, and that was awesome because they put it on. They just ran it on the website, so it's just kind of fun to get to sit and look at them. Rough first half, really kind of a rough game. They got beat 3-1. One of them was an own goal. Those were always a pain in the butt. The second Columbus goal, it's not the goal, it's the pass. Because basically, Guzan got caught off the line, so the guy chipped him from the middle of the field. And people always love that, and it's spectacular, and that guy sucks. But no, goalkeepers are supposed to do that, and if the guy catches you, he catches you. But it was the pass that set it up. Watch the whole highlight. It was pretty impressive. But when we finally did get on the score sheet, it was Joe and Miggy, and that made all of us feel better. But really just the way they played in the second half made me feel better because they just looked more like, oh, this is what we want to see. This is going to be fun, man. So that was awesome. And then Wednesday they're playing, I think, Minnesota. So I'm looking forward to that because soccer's great. It's like basketball, man. You don't. It's not baseball. They don't play every night. They usually play once a week, sometimes twice a week. But it's not a lot of off time. So it's like, cool, we're going right back. Yeah. But I like being able to keep up with the preseason just because it's exciting, and I'm glad they're back. Marvel stuff. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I started The Defenders. And we've discussed the Netflix stuff I'm completely out of. Watched Daredevil and watched Jessica Jones, and I haven't seen any of the rest of it. I haven't seen any of Daredevil 2, no Luke Cage, no Iron Fist. And Luke's frustrating because I like Luke a lot, but I wasn't wild about him in Jessica Jones. I should probably watch his series. But I'm a team book guy. I've always liked team books better, so when they said they're doing The Defenders, I'm like, well, instead of just getting caught up, I'll just wait for this. And I've only watched 3 of them so far, but I like it. It's okay. And then Guardians 2 I finally watched because my brother and my sister-in-law were telling me that I had to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because they watched it first, and then I loaned them the first one. And so I asked my brother, like, which one's better? And he's like, oh, the second one. I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. And for my taste, he was right. Just because there's just real, still in Jared, there's very specific stuff in it that's real meaningful to my brother and I, and the details you don't really need. But the thing that I liked about it was we've talked about the Star-Lord jokes and how they've kind of there are elements of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 that have found their way into every other Marvel movie. The interesting thing was that Guardians 2, to me, seems to be the one that followed that playbook least. And it really surprised me because I'm like, that's pretty good stuff. But I think that I talk a lot about, we discussed this on Last Jedi, how people, you want the movies to be grown up, you want them to be adult comic book movies, so then when Star Wars gets all political, you get frustrated by it. Mm-hmm. I said then, I will say again, I am not a big fan of, I'm going to be a grown-up, so let's talk about politics, because it's just too tropey. It's been done way too many times. It's the death of pretty much every sitcom you ever enjoyed, is when they replace the writing staff with fresh out of college liberals that want it. That's the reason they all fall in that same trap. But this one I thought was interesting because the grown-up crap they did in Guardians 2 was emotional stuff, like very serious, heavy, emotional stuff. And I thought, for what they were going for there, I don't think any other Marvel movie's ever done it. Certainly not to that degree. But it's insanely sentimental, and I like that a lot. But there's other stuff about it that I dug too. But the specifics don't really matter. But I loved it. I thought it was great. Now I'm very excited. I was excited about Black Panther anyway, but Panther, I just, like everything else, I'll wait till Monday.
Yeah, when I saw and heard about some of the pre-sale records that was set, and I was like, well, I already don't like going on opening weekend anyway. I guess that's the thing, is I don't see many movies in the first place in the theater, but opening weekend, I just don't have to be there for that. I'll wait till the next weekend or the week after, a day during the week when I happen to be off. Like, I'll go see it then.
Yeah, during we discussed this a lot. That's the deal that I've made with society about spoilers. Spoilers do not bother me nearly bad enough to have to go out and see the movie immediately. I don't care, because if I want to see it, I'm going to watch it anyway. Mm-hmm. And I just hate crowds. I don't like crowds, and I don't like packed theaters, especially for, like it or not, kids movies, because they are. I mean, they're not really kids movies. Do kids go? That's what I'm talking about. If you can go and see a Marvel movie and not have to contend with children in the theater, good for you, but that's rare. Yeah. So I would rather go at a time that people are working and kids are in school, and I just like that way better.
Yeah. Man, my venture out that I went to do, it gets ties into some of the sentimental stuff, because it's one of those. I'm a misspeaker. I'm one of those guys, you know what I mean, kind of guys, and I do that too much. But I went to see a concert, and it was myself, my cousin John, and friend Ben went on February 8th to the fabulous Fox Theater and saw Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, and I just was not ready for how awesome that those guys were. And I actually, did and as much as I'm a misspeaker, you know what I'm saying, kind of guys, I'm a do my homework at the last minute kind of guy too. I knew it was coming up, and I knew I'd heard the name, and I recognized the face, but I was like, where do I know this guy from? And why does this name sound familiar? And I guess my misspeaking thing, when I was like, filling Ben on who he was, like, I said, well, he was the lead singer of the Drive-By Truckers, and John was very quick about, it's not the lead singer. It's like, in the band, that's what I was trying to say. But yeah, that's his story, was in the Drive-By Truckers for a solid part of the early 2000s, and has a really interesting story of how he ended up out of that band, and how he ended up with this band and married to who he's married to. He considers this person a lifesaver, and just some of the songs that you can tell are very much about that. I don't see how you could do on a nightly basis and not have just a breakdown. Just really, really good. So if you're in a town, and I know they're still in the spring part of their tour, where Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit are coming anywhere close by, it's worth the drive, brother. Go check them out. And any excuse to go to the Fox it's one of the best. There's a lot of awesome venues in Atlanta, but that's my favorite.
Yeah, the Fox is real special. I agree, man.
It sounds great, and you can fit a crap ton of people in there, but not everybody can play there just because it's not huge. But uh, I, they probably won't be able to play there much longer because they're going to be really popular, and it's the type of venue that, and they've already at the point where they had to do 2 nights there. They did Friday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday, something like that. But yeah, man, there's just a really really good show and worth checking out.
That's awesome, man.
So
The Fox is insanely awesome. It's infamous isn't the right word. Nobody's mad, nobody's upset, but it's got an insane piece of recent history. It's the last venue that Prince ever played,
Yeah.
and that's kind of interesting. The Fox is. I was just sitting there thinking, like, what is my favorite thing I've ever seen at the Fox? And it's kind of like concerts and then shows and plays and stuff. It's like, well, I almost have to do one of each. Like, have to pick like a different one.
you can see a little bit of everything there.
Yeah, it's a playhouse. I mean, that's what it's there for. But it's really cool. I've never been to the movies there. They do like a summer series where they take like kind of the best of whatever year it was, and then just come in and because back in the day that is what, as far as I know, that's what it really. That was its primary thing was a movie theater. But it's sweet down there, man. Now I got to think about that because that'll be fun. Because I know what the best show I've ever seen there is. Now I'm trying to think of like the best concert I ever saw there because I've seen a couple that were quite good.
They're all like equal for me, just for different reasons, and I mean there's the talking about seeing a little bit of everything there. That's where if you live in Atlanta, that's where you go see the tour and Broadway shows. The Phantom of the Operas, Hamilton's, what, 42nd Street, what, stuff like that. So a big Phantom of the Opera mark. Wicked, probably my favorite show going to today. But man, I've seen Lyle Lovett and his large band there one night. That was the best seat I've ever had for anything at the Fox. Was that show? I was second row in the balcony, and it was one of those kind of seats that I bought thinking like, I don't know, it's in the balcony. I like being on the floor. Man, it's the best seats in that place. That's why for the season long stuff, that's what gets sold out first for the longest.
We talk very often about where we like to sit in sports venues.
Yeah,
that's why. I have no idea what the comparison is for the Fox because I've never sat anywhere else. I'm totally with you. I love being up there, man. That's the place, and he's totally right, man. As far as like the peach seats, those are gone. People like fight over those.
It's just you get people have to pass away.
Yeah,
it's
like Packer tickets. They're inherited. Yeah. they wind up in wills, man.
So, I've seen Lyle Lovett was amazing. That's top of the list. Alison Krauss in Union Station, I saw there. That was one of those shows where I just wanted to go to see, and I couldn't believe that she actually sounds like that in real life.
Yeah.
when you go and listen to somebody like that can play and sing that well, you're like, holy crap, this is really happening. And David Gray, I got to see that. That's my three that I always remember being like really really awesome. I've seen some movies there. During the summer, Coca-Cola does their summer film festival where they show the most popular of the current year and like pepper in some classics. Or stuff that might be having like an anniversary year and stuff like that they'll show. And I saw the Star Wars nerd movies there. I remember vividly seeing Attack of the Clones there. I'm fairly certain I saw Sith there, but I know I went to see Sin City there. So I don't go see many movies there is what I'm trying to tell you. but it's something about being in that building. Yeah. The crappiest movie you can imagine is going to be fun to watch there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just going is awesome. My concert list is pretty small there. I saw the Allman
Yeah.
Brothers, and they're too loud for
Cool.
that venue. No joke. I mean, it was awesome because it's the Allman Brothers, but it's just too much. Like, guys, come on. But the Sarah McLachlan is the one that I saw that was great.
Yeah.
That was absolutely fantastic. And then mostly my other stuff would be plays. Like we saw Mamma Mia there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
Show.
that Mamma Mia is awesome. Big ABBA fan, so
Yeah.
it's awesome. Still have never seen the movie. Don't need to see the movie. I like the soundtrack and I like the show. I'm good,
Man, the thing about that movie is I just, in my head, imagine Pierce Brosnan with a better singing voice. Has an amazing speaking voice and, sounds cool and that debonair British sounding guy, but then when he sings, you're kind of like, that it? So that, and, I just, it just left me wanting to listen to the soundtrack of the play or go see the play again.
Yeah, I got in a lot.
I just don't love the movie the way I love that.
I got in a lot of trouble for the latest film musical version of Les Miserables because I said the same thing about that. And apparently, if you don't drop to your knees and quake when Anne Hathaway sings that song, you're not a good person. But I just like the show better, so I put the soundtrack on, and it wasn't bad. It's not that the movie wasn't, because that was the other thing was like, why is Russell Crowe taking so much crap for not? But this Russell Crowe was fine. Russell Crowe was fine. That wasn't. There was nothing wrong with that movie at all. I just liked putting the show on. I just thought it was cool. That's one of the things I've seen there.
That's one thing I get in trouble for that a lot too. I'm like, I'm not calling what you like bad. I just like this one.
It's
that
all
kind of
good.
thing.
We had that conversation about Ghost in the Shell. What do you mean you're not going to see the new
movie?
Ghost in the Shell? I've already seen it. It's not a problem. I think it's great when people want to take cartoons and comic books and turn them into movies. It doesn't mean I'm gonna like all of them.
Yeah.
We talk about that with Transformers all the time. When people say there's never
Lord.
been a good Transformers movie, it's like, yeah, there has been. That cartoon is amazing, man.
Was it 86?
Something like that.
86 just had cuss words and Orson Welles in it. He didn't know what was going on.
It was cool. That one's really good. Anybody that likes Transformers stuff's probably already seen it. That's great. But if you haven't, check it out. It's awesome.
Man, you want to talk about a movie that's just straight up balls to come out and off some people. Like we're like 20 minutes in and we're like, what just happened?
I think, and I could be totally wrong here, man, whether people were aware of it or not, I think what happened with Transformers is that people that had not seen anime before got introduced to it.
Yeah.
That's what happened with that movie. We can't believe they're cursing and they're killing people. Yeah, it's because the Japanese guys that created Transformers, they made that movie.
Yeah.
Anime's like that all the time, It's I think that was the first. I know it would have been for me. There's no way I would have ever seen anything like that before. No way.
It took years before we realized with Voltron that Sven, the reason why the black guy in the black costume isn't in the black line because he's supposed to be dead.
Yeah, they killed him.
And in our version, because he like floats off to his homeland.
Yeah,
they need me.
He totally got poochied.
And he I think the line's like, Sven got hurt.
Because that was always the thing is, man, how come Lance and Keith don't drive the lines that their suits match up with? That's exactly the point. It's like, it was basically the Green Ranger in reverse, where you had the Power Rangers, then all of a sudden you need a new lead ranger, so you create the Green Ranger. Well, in that story, you start, I guess basically Sven was the world's first Ned Stark. People want to, he's the first lead character to ever get killed in the beginning. No, he wasn't. You watch Voltron, you'll see.
Yeah.
But,
none of the live action Transformers movies or Transformers shows since the original have they really done anything for me? So
I haven't seen them, so I'm with you. I don't know, but I believe you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's really awesome. And there was something. Oh yeah, the shows that we've seen at the Fox, man. I can't believe my brother got me a Book of Mormon ticket for Christmas one year.
Cool.
So we went to that, and it's exactly what you think it is.
I've been meaning to see that.
Yeah, it'll
I know
do it
it's
for
coming back. I think if not this summer, early next year.
Yeah.
Les Mis is coming back. It's part of the. To get Hamilton tickets in Atlanta, you had to buy, like the season ticket to guarantee your spot. And it's like I'm not going to. And I'm not gonna go see everything that runs in a season, and it's too much trouble to sell, and so I just, you know, won't be seeing Hamilton. But that's, I remember seeing that poster, and Les Mis was on that stuff that's coming back. If not this year, like early or mid next year, I think it'll be back at the Fox. And the Fox was where I saw Weird Al. I forgot about that show.
Oh, Pop Vinyl's doing Weird Al's now. That reminds me. Those showed up yesterday in some preview thing. I'm like, that's pretty good.
That's gonna be, the music ones are the cool ones for me. I just like that. I saw Motley Crue.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't have to have those, but that was cool.
Yeah, man. Well, it establishes a new precedent that at least they'll make drummers.
Yeah.
Because they've never done them before, and it's like, you're not doing Motley Crue and not doing Tommy Lee, so that's good. I think that helps everybody going forward.
Talking about pops and rock and roll concerts. Probably the single best movie I've ever seen at the Fox was the movie Metal Headbanger's Journey. A friend of mine got me a ticket. They were having like a screening of it, and it's one of those movies. Any other time I could have told you the guy's name that made it, but it's the thing. He did this awesome documentary about the history of heavy metal music. It's the same guy. He did that, the Iron Maiden Flight 666, I think is what it's called. He did the Rush documentary. I want to say he did the Alice Cooper one. So that's like, a good storyteller, filmmaker guy. I feel bad for not remembering the dude's name, but it's pretty easy to come up. Just type in that movie and it'll pop right. But that's the best movie that I can watch again and again that I've seen at the Fox.
Yeah, man.
But so that's what I always go back to as far as the movies go.
Top Fox moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did see Les Miserables, which is awesome. Because one of the cool things about Les Mis is they change it all the time. Mm-hmm. So when you go see it, it's like going to a Fish show. Apparently none of them, don't get me wrong, when they tour, of course, from night to night, it's the same. Mm-hmm. But by the time they bring it back around again, they switch it all up and change the effects and all that. And that was a lot of fun. I loved that because I liked that show. And I remember seeing the commercial for that when I was a kid. And they were playing the Fox then when I was little. That's how I even heard of it and knew what it was. So it's like, I'm going to keep that in mind. And then eventually I got old enough to buy a ticket and I went down and it was awesome. It was very cool. There were several it was kind of neat. There's a big interview in the middle of the playbill with the person that had designed the special effects, particularly the sewer sequence. Mm-hmm. And literally, I thought this was very classy and very cool. Like when the people, like the ushers, are handing you your playbill and showing you your seats, they would tell you, do not read this if you haven't seen the show already, because it'll ruin it. Save this for after. Once you've seen it, then you can see how they did it. Because it was this huge, there's always the technological stuff in that show apparently is always revolutionary, and they change it up all the time. So it's like, I had no idea, but apparently people that go, it's a big secret. Like, oh no, you don't want them to tell you. I'm like, that's cool. Thanks for the heads up, man. It's like literally spoiler warnings in the building with the show you're about to see.
Yeah.
That one was very, very good. But then my number one thing I've ever seen, like as far as play stuff and at the Fox, was Billy Elliot, man. That absolutely is. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe how much because my mom and I love that movie. Mm-hmm. So got tickets and we went, and both of us were like, holy crap, dude. It was great. Yeah, man. But that's good. So you mentioned Alice Cooper. He's another Pop Vinyl guy. He's getting some too. I don't know why I can't think of anybody else that's in there, but when you mention them, apparently it jogs the memory. Yeah, man. But Al is one is the Fat video, and one is just him with his accordion. Cool. They're pretty good. They're quite neat, man. But it's just this kind of little bulbous black leather Weird Al. That's kind of funny, guys.
That's a big wealth of figures you could do just based off the videos and songs alone. Man.
Yeah, totally.
Just make a bunch of those.
Yeah, man. That was cool. I don't know. It seems like I opened it up because it was talking about I wanted to see what not new wrestlers. I'm waiting on Becky Lynch. That's like my number one Pop Vinyl request. So anytime they release new ones, I open them up and
Toy
see.
Fairs this weekend. That might be one reason why a bunch of stuff's getting released.
Yeah, I think that's what
makes
happened.
sense now.
And I was bummed because they had like a picture of the table with like the girl specific line, and I was really hoping it would be there, and it wasn't. Like, and I know one's coming. It's all well. I hope one is coming. But I can't remember what figures I saw that I like. The Elias Elite is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's
I remember
fun just
seeing that.
because it's him, and it's like that's cool. I don't really remember anything else, man. Not that I was like really blown away by.
I saw some stuff come across Facebook, and nothing WWE wise, but the thing I'm probably the most excited about is it's a Funko line, but I can't remember quite what they're calling it, but the Squatty Masters of the Universe style.
Yeah,
Guys.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name either, but I know what you're talking about.
There's a series out now of the Mortal Kombat guys. Well, we're raising the stakes, brother. They released the new license they got. The new license they got in the Squatty Master of the Universe style is Thundercats.
Sweet.
It's crazy. Is all I know to say. That's of the stuff that I've seen that's come out from the WWE wise. I was kind of like I was really looking forward to seeing some stuff, and then all the pictures I've seen was kind of like
I'm kind of the same way. There's nothing that's
that's the one that I was kind of like when I saw it.
Yeah.
But still, it's in that kind of let's wait and see when they come out kind of thing. But at the very least, Lion-O and Mama are like, well, that does have to happen. Anything beyond that, we'll see. But when it's the same thing that always happens. Once you get Lion-O, it's like, well, you might as well get Panthro.
I need the team now for real.
You know?
You get Panthro, and then you have to keep going.
And that's the thing. Before you shut this video off, in the Squatty Masters style, there's still Chitara that they're doing, and it's worth a look ski.
Yeah, man.
Going to check those out.
I had the same thing with the Toy Fair stuff, but at the same time, I've only really looked at the wrestling stuff. But I went in there looking for two things, and it's the Becky Lynch pop vinyl and the Asuka entrance greats or entrance legends, whatever they're called. But there was that one, like Bobby Roode's got one. And I keep seeing pictures of it come up, and that's okay. But I make a point, because I'm a jerk, every time I see the Bobby Roode, and I'm like, great, now Asuka. Great, now Asuka. Because that's what I'm waiting on. A lot of stuff, a lot of pictures from just people out hunting. And, it's frustrating because the series is out. I mean, they've got them right down the street from here. We saw the Charlotte with the big robe and all that. Man, that's Doc and Carl. So I'm like, crap, I really got to keep an eye out for those because it's out. I just haven't seen them yet. But those are like 4 or 5 series weights. Like those are ones that we've been talking about since forever. And I really want both those guys.
Heck yeah. And I really liked the entrance greats when the line started years ago now. And they're coming back. But of what I've seen so far, I've got no problem with the figures. I like them all. The problem I've had with them is those packages are just so freaking huge. I do want them. I like them, but I'm just like, man, just stick with the elites. But then that's what you're talking about when you have an Asuka and possibly a Charlotte from WrestleMania 33 coming. You're kind of like, how do you not get that? How do you not?
Remind me to show you later the Bobby Roode, because the Bobby Roode, the packaged one, because they have drastically changed the boxes, and maybe it'll help you out a little bit, because it's not elite.
I saw Angle.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's so freaking
the big
huge.
crazy
like,
gold thing.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Stop.
I can't believe I didn't send you that, because I remember when I saw it, like, dude, this might help, because they're a bit more streamlined, and it's more of the white.
I hope so.
It's very cool. I think the big thing with it is that the box is like the entire bubble is see through. Like Bobby Roode, I think is packaged backwards, so you're looking at Glorious. But the back of it, you know how they do. The back's clear, and you can turn it around and see the whole thing. I'm like, man, I hope this is what they're doing, because I know those are just a nightmare.
Yeah.
So that's going to be super cool, because I open all my crap, so it doesn't matter. But I know the man doesn't, so I try to keep my eye out for good packaging and good decisions being made.
That's I did my thing that I usually kick myself for not doing later. But when you see any of the elites or anything out, you are kind of on the fence about, go ahead and get it. At the very least, you can move it later. But I came across the Ember Moon in Target. And I was like, well, give it.
Yeah, that's cool because I love that figure, man. That thing is slamming
nice.
cool.
It's
I love
nice.
it.
But I just, and even those, I'm kind of like, the boxes are kind of like, I don't love it. And when it comes to those, that's stupid and asinine to complain about, because those will fit on a wall just fine, just because you don't like the way it's shaped. But the entrance grates that are coming out now that I've seen, I was kind of like, it just feels like big old box and guy in the middle,
little floaty figure.
There was a lady that's all her table was at Days of the Dead. The other weekend was
So she had
WWE
6 figures
stuff.
out.
and she had like it looked like every angle from this region of West Georgia she had went out and bought and had them sitting there. And it's maybe I was just seeing that many of them together. I was kind of like, oh man, that's a lot of packaging.
Seriously,
So,
God dang, look at all that cardboard. Got distracted. I don't know if the figure's good or not.
Hey Kurt,
Man,
why'd you do that?
This is stupid.
Why, Bubba?
Why, Bubba?
But that's just it got me excited because of whether it's Toy Fair or San Diego. That's what I always check out. Check out NECA, Funko, Mattel, WWE, and of the stuff I've seen that's come out so far, there's like a Pee Wee Herman Funkos that I thought, okay, maybe, but other than that, I mean, that's the one thing that I kind of saw come across. I was like, outside of the Thundercats thing, I was like, that's tight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got to make that loop because I just looked at the wrestling stuff and need to see what else is going to be out there, man.
Yeah.
My other, as far as my shopping spree and looking for stuff I got to buy, man, the King Peach uniforms came out for United, and I'm not a jersey or shorts or socks guy. I love them. I think they're cool. I just that's not what I do because they're like basketball jerseys. I like them, but I just can't. I'm not comfortable in them.
Yeah.
They're just not comfortable when I wear them. But what I do is collect the scarves, and I got one for last year. I'm gonna have one for this year, and I want the King Peach one this year. So I was telling Jared, I keep getting like notifications from United, and it's like, hey, you seen this kit yet? You seen the shirt yet? I'm like, yes, I have. Until you put the scarf in the shop, stop talking to me.
Yes, I have. Leave me alone.
For real, let me be. I got it. It's cool. But eventually, I'm going to. I think it'd be cool to build a display for scarves because that's just a neat thing to be able to collect. And the one I got last year is awesome. But I'm particularly happy now that I think most of the ones last year had inaugural season on it. I'm particularly happy now that it did because it's like, yeah, one a year, that'll be cool. Yeah. But the Peach stuff has drawn very divided reviews. I love it. I think it's awesome. But we talked about it before with Atlanta Dream, Detroit Pistons. Anything that's relative to where you are. I love stuff like that. So Peach uniforms are awesome, man. I think the only thing I would change about it, because they are hard to read, because it's a white shirt with Peach numbers on it, is I think you can incorporate just a little bit of green in it, just outline them, and that way people can actually read the number. That's about the only thing I would change, though. I think they look awesome. And probably if you're in the building, they're neon, and you can see them anyway.
Just thinking of it without seeing it makes my eyes kind of hurt.
Yeah. Well, if you know anything of Southeastern Conference football, just imagine Tennessee's road uniform, but a lighter shade.
Yeah.
They do it all the time.
Okay.
But Tech used to get killed for that. He had white shirts with gold numbers on them, because everybody, the colors are white and gold. Navy is not one of Georgia Tech's colors. So they made the shirt to appease all the people that were griping about it. I can't read that. Well, what do you want then? Calm down when the numbers are Navy, moron.
I do not approve of you loving my team the way I told you to.
Seriously, man. How dare you do exactly what I asked for? That's a mistake. I am not used to being accommodated.
How dare you,
Have some
sir?
respect. But yeah, man, they're pretty sweet because white Adidas uniforms look cool anyway. Because then whatever stripe you put on them is cool. So going as funky as you can, I love it. I think it's a cool idea. Because everybody's suggestion is, why don't they do a black uniform? And I wish they would too, because all black is cool as hell. But that's 2/3 of the home uniform. I would like it if they did one, but I don't think that you're going to get the. I think black from the neck down. We might be a ways off from that. An alternate maybe, but I don't think you want that. Maybe, but you'll be mad that it's too much like the home uniform.
Yeah, I think the blackout jerseys for Georgia is one of those kind of things we thought we wanted it and got it, and it's like, nah, I don't.
I love the fact that now Tennessee is backtracking on the gray uniforms. We are orange and we are white. We wear these two colors and that's all. Okay, so now you want to scamper back into the Alabama doesn't need weird uniforms. You're right, because they got big paychecks and they got the most successful coach in the country. You do. People are weird about that, man. Whatever shirts are used on... shirts are very, very different depending on what sport you're talking about. Soccer, basketball, we've talked about that with the city jerseys before, man. Those are to get people to buy them.
Yeah.
That's what they're for. If you don't want one, you don't have to, because more than likely, the target's younger than you.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. But in college sports, nobody signs a deal to sell those to fans. You can do it, but they're always knockoffs. You are trying to get recruits.
Yeah.
So I don't care how much you hate the Tennessee gray uniforms. If it gets you a decent kid to come play there because that's cool, you should probably fight to keep them.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that stuff at Oregon's so ugly. You know who hasn't said that? Anyone that's ever signed there to play. And that's why it matters, man. It's such a different thing. To where, like, popular appeal does not matter. It's why the stuff at colleges are so different, because it's a very specific person that you're trying to target. And who gives a crap if nobody else likes it? It doesn't matter. But it worked great for Oregon, because then you can make 75,000 hats. Like whenever everybody's got a pink hat now and everybody's got a baby blue hat now. But at Oregon, that works, because they actually wind up wearing all that crap at one point or another. It's like, hey, it's cool, man. But I do think that's an interesting thing to think about. Like, man, the target or the point is just completely different, isn't it?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man. But the last thing about the Peach uniforms, man, is they're better than the gray ones from last year. Because the gray ones, if you're going to do gray, do it. Do gray. Do gray. Last year's uniform looked like it was white, but it hadn't been washed for a while. It's like, no, if you want to do gray, dark, yeah, that's exactly what they look dirty. That's exactly what they look like, man. But nah, it's cool. I love that kind of stuff, and I'm happy that we can worry this much about what uniforms the team wears.
Yeah.
I like it. Another thing. This was my favorite. One last thing about United. This was my favorite United thing for the week. There was a poll from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, and they had put a poll up that was like the day before they had asked, what of the big four teams in the state. Yeah, we're including United. You can stop with that denotation anymore. It's real. It's a big deal, and you guys run the game, so don't worry about it. Just embrace. It's fine. But they were asking what professional sports franchise in the state had the best chance to win, and I mean that's not a poll question. There is one answer, and it's not that I can tell you my opinion. I can prove it. Here's the proof. Mm-hmm. The Benz dwellers, of course, are going to be the 1 and 2 in that answer. Okay. If the Falcons don't win the NFC South, bummer. If they don't make the playoffs, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
But that's the bottom line for success for the Falcons. They need to make the playoffs, or it's a disappointing season. If you win the division, so much the better. Mm-hmm. If you make the playoffs and keep winning games, that's awesome. And if you go to the Super Bowl, great. If you win it, of course, that's the best you can do. But the bottom line goal is make the play. You better make the playoffs, because if you don't, then there will really be some questions to answer.
Oh, yes.
Let me tell you something. There is a U.S. Open
Things
Cup.
will get shuffled.
There's a U.S. Open Cup. There is the MLS Supporters Shield. There's the MLS Cup. If one of those three things, particularly one of these two right here, the big ones, if Atlanta does not have one of those by December or by the second week of December, that will be failure. The stakes are way higher. You're expected to win, not make the playoffs, win. There's your answer. And again, that's not my opinion. You ask which one has the highest stakes, or you ask the one that's who's in the best position to succeed, the one that has the most expected of them. That's all there is to it. And it's crazy. My alarm's going off. But you've got the two big awards in MLS, and United are expected to win at least one of them. And that's crazy for a second-year team. Sorry, y'all. I got to turn this stupid thing off. There we go. But it was dumb. And then the poll results came in, and United smoked everybody because, there's a lot of people that set bots to vote on that stuff. So the very next day, they start with well, if Atlanta United wins an MLS championship, would it really count? Would you count it Atlanta? And this is the fascinating thing. 92.9 is like all other sports. It's like all other really media, but sports especially. And it's that you can't enjoy having won for how long after Georgia. Ask people. You could probably win bets now if you walked around this state and said, hey, who won the SEC championship last year? Because it's washed away so quickly, and the accomplishment is diminished so fast. Yeah. Nobody even cares. But how'd Georgia do in the playoffs? Oh, lost national championship game. Everybody knows that. But people don't even know. What was that bowl game that Georgia won last year? It was the Rose Bowl. But that's my point, is that the accomplishments are washed away immediately. And had Georgia beaten Alabama, you would already be doing what you're doing now anyway. Look how much turnover. Oh, they lost so many guys. It's going to be a rough season next year. That's another example, because that's the other one's like, well, University of Georgia's in a way better spot than Atlanta United. No, they're not. Because, again, what is expected of you? Is Georgia expected to win the SEC next year? No. Georgia's expected to win the East next year. And because of that, I would put them above the Falcons. Because, again, it's just how high up are your expectations? If Georgia wins the SEC East, that's a hell of an accomplishment. But they're expected to do it. It's crazy, but that's the thing. Anyhow, the point that I was making about all of that is just how quick we diminish stuff. And I think that it says, in a way that nothing else can, just how over you are and just how much stroke you have. Basically, it proves the point of the poll from the day before, that you are literally trying to diminish an accomplishment that they are at the very least 10 months away from possibly achieving. They've done nothing yet. They haven't won a thing yet, and you're already trying to undercut it. It's like, okay, you want to ask again who's got the most, who's in the best spot? That's pathetic, man. Like, dude, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, y'all already trying to crap on a championship. They ain't even won yet. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm like, man, they've officially arrived. But I think that people are, the thing with Georgia is, it's very strange because you get odd answers, because it's like, well, the recruiting class is so good. Yeah, guys have to come in and acclimate, and they have to stay too. That's the other thing that people go crazy about now is, well, Georgia and Clemson had 7 5-star all-stars. Yeah, that's because you got a bunch of 17-year-olds that believe everything ESPN tells them. They will come to come to Athens, they will compete, and then some of them are going to go. And the reason I don't understand people don't get this, you ever heard Jacob Eason? This happens all the time, man. Like, dude, it's gonna be fine. But as far as like stocking the tool shed with 5 stars, wait till that popcorn pops, buddy. It's just better. But the idea of Georgia having this huge step back, oh, it's gonna be disappointing after last year. Well, crap. You're only the second best team in the country last year, and you're replacing a lot of guys. Yeah, there might be a bit of a step back, but you can still win the division, very realistically. Potentially win the Southeastern, and just see where you go from there. Yeah. Yeah, man, being not as good as you were last year, you still get to be real good. And then what happens when you have the guys you recruited this year and the ones that stick, have stuck, then your expectations go up again. It's cool. Yeah. It's kind of fun, man. For as much crap as got talked about, oh, Georgia and the Falcons let us down in championship games. We're in the state of Georgia talking about championship games. If y'all want to be spoiled little pricks about it, have fun. But I think this is good stuff for people, man.
Yeah. This just seems to be the MO of sports talk radio, definitely in Atlanta, but across the nation, is talk crap about the home team.
You have to. That's how you get callers.
And it's just, oh, sky's falling.
Yeah. You have to do that because nobody's going to call you to agree with you. So you need to take unpopular opinions.
When people call to try to agree with you, like, well, you're not as right as me, though.
Yeah, seriously. But and I think one of my biggest frustration with sports talk in Atlanta is when they try to talk college football, because literally everybody on that station is from Philly, from Miami, from San Francisco. Nobody, there are no Southerners at that station. And I guess it works, because that's the trouble, is if you actually had somebody talking college football from here, they might know what they're talking about. When in reality, what you have is a bunch of people that way want to push the NFL agenda and have to talk college football, but can't. And it works, I guess, because I guess that's how you tick folks off. Because, like we said, man, that is the name of the game. Is you need people to listen, and you can keep them watching a lot more by what they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
It stinks, but yeah, that's why I got to stay away from that stuff. At nighttime, it's great though, but everything's better at nighttime because the advertising goes down. It's not quite as vital that you got to hit those drive time numbers. It's like, yeah, man, that's cool. They talk about all kinds of fun stuff at night.
Yeah. A bit more of a smorgasbord.
Yeah, it's just less people with their hats out.
Yeah.
Hey, we bought that ad. You owe us. Sure.
Yeah. Is anything else?
Man, I think I've babbled about everything. I still didn't make notes. I need to do that, but I think we're cool. I think that's good. I gotta go check out some toys.
Stream of consciousness talking that I'm terrible at.
These are the best. This is why we're the best show on YouTube. Putting yourself over.
Yeah. We're taking over.
We're taking over.
We'll see y'all.
Take it easy.